Let's try to finish right view by today. Yesterday we read about contact, eye contact, ear contact, all the way to mind contact. Today we will continue with the sixth sense basis. Saying, "Good friend," the monks delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's words. Then they asked him a further question, "But friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma?" There might be, friends. When, friends, a noble disciple understands the sixth sense basis, the origin of the sixth sense basis, the cessation of the sixth sense basis, and the way leading to the cessation of the sixth sense basis, in that way he is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma. And what are the sixth sense bases? What is the origin of the sixth sense basis? What is the cessation of the sixth sense basis? What is the way leading to the cessation of the sixth sense basis? There's this sixth sense basis: the eye base, the ear base, the nose base, the tongue base, the body base, and the mind base. With the arising of name and form, there is the arising of the sixth sense basis. With the cessation of name and form, there is the cessation of the sixth sense basis. The way leading to the cessation of the sixth sense basis is just this Noble Eightfold Path. There's right view all the way to right concentration. When a noble disciple has thus understood the sixth sense basis, the origin of the sixth sense basis, the cessation of the sixth sense basis, and the way leading to the cessation of the sixth sense basis, he, here and now, makes an end of suffering. In that way too, a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma. So previously, contact. With the arising of the sixth sense basis, there's the arising of contact. Now, taking a look, what are the sixth sense bases? The eye base all the way until the mind base. And what is the origin of the sixth sense basis? Name and form. With the arising of name and form, there's the arising of the sixth sense basis. And the rest follows the same pattern. So these two lines are the important portion. Sister Shawmei, would you like to continue?
Name and form. Saying, "Good friend," the monks delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's words. Then they asked him a further question. "But friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma?" There might be, friends. When friends, a couple, a noble disciple understands name and form, the origin of name and form, the cessation of name and form, and the way leading to the cessation of name and form, in that way, he is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma. And what is name and form? What is the origin of name and form? What is the cessation of name and form? What is the way leading to the cessation of name and form? Feeling, perception, volition, contact, and attention. These are called name. The four great elements and the form are derived from the four great elements and the form derived from the four great elements. These are called form. So this name and this form are what is called name and form. With the arising of consciousness, there is a rising of name and form. With the cessation of consciousness, there is a cessation of name and form. The way leading to the cessation of name and form is just this Noble Eightfold Path. That is right view, all the way to right concentration. When a noble disciple has thus understood name and form, the origin of name and form, the cessation of name and form, and the way leading to the cessation of name and form, he here and now makes an end of suffering. In that way, too, a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma.
Thanks, Sister Shami. Footnotes number 19. The term Namarupa was of pre-Buddhistic origins. It was used in the Upanishads to represent the differentiated manifestation of Brahman, the non-dual absolute reality, appearing in the guise of multiplicity. Brahman, apprehended by the senses as diversified appearances, is form, rupa. Brahman, apprehended by thought through diversified names or concepts, is name, nama. The Buddha adopted this expression and gave it a meaning governed by his own system. Here, name and form become, respectively, the cognitive and the physical sides of individual existence. But the footnote explains why it is called Namarupa. This is the psychological side, name, cognitive side here. And this is the form, the physical side. And the cause for the arising of name and form is consciousness. Sister Billy, would you like to continue?
Consciousness, saying, "Good friend," the monks delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's words. Then they asked him a further question. "But friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma?" "There might be, friends. When, friends, a noble disciple understands consciousness, the origin of consciousness, the cessation of consciousness, and the way leading to the cessation of consciousness. In that way he is one of right view and has arrived at his true Dharma." And what is consciousness? What is the origin of consciousness? What is the cessation of consciousness? What is the way leading to the cessation of consciousness? There are these 6 classes of consciousness: eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness. With the arising of volitional formations, there is the arising of consciousness. With the cessation of volitional formations, there is the cessation of consciousness. The way leading to the cessation of consciousness is just this Noble Eightfold Path, that is, right view up to right concentration. When a noble disciple has thus understood consciousness, the origin of consciousness, the cessation of consciousness, and the way leading to the cessation of consciousness, he here and now makes an end of suffering. In that way, too, a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma.
Thanks, Sister
Thank
Billy.
you.
The rest follows the same pattern here, but consciousness here is defined as eye consciousness, ear consciousness, all the way to mind consciousness. Footnotes number 20. Mind consciousness, mano-vijnana, comprises all consciousness except the 5 types of sense consciousness just mentioned. It includes consciousness of mental images, abstract ideas, and internal states of mind, as well as the consciousness that reflects upon sense objects. And what is the cause of consciousness? It is with the arising of volitional formations. There is the arising of consciousness. Sister Saikin, would you like to continue?
Volitional formations. Saying, good friend, the monks delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's words. Then they asked him a further question. But, friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma? There might be, friends. When friends, a noble disciple understands volitional formations, the origin of volitional formations, the cessation of volitional formations, and the way leading to the cessation of volitional formations. In that way, he is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma. And what are volitional formations? What is the origin of volitional formations? What is the cessation of volitional formations? What is the way leading to the cessation of volitional formations? There are these three kinds of volitional formations: the bodily volitional formation, the verbal volitional formation, and the mental volitional formation. With the arising of ignorance, there is the arising of volitional formations. With the cessation of ignorance, there is the cessation of volitional formations. The way leading to the cessation of volitional formations is just this Noble Eightfold Path, that is, right view all the way to right concentration. When a noble disciple has thus understood volitional formations, the origin of volitional formations, the cessation of volitional formations, and the way leading to the cessation of volitional formations, he, here and now, makes an end of suffering. In that way, too, a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma. Thank you.
Thanks, Sister Saikin. Here, volitional formation is defined as three: bodily, verbal, and mental volitional formations. Footnote number 21. In the context of the doctrine of dependent origination, volitional formations, sankhara, are wholesome and unwholesome volitions. The bodily formation is volition expressed through the body. The verbal formation, volition expressed by speech. And the mental formation, volition that does not reach bodily or verbal expression. And what is the cause of volitional formation? The arising of ignorance. Sister Aikin, would you like to continue?
Ignorance, saying, good friend, the monks delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputra's words. Then they asked him a further question. But friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma? There might be, friends. When friends, a noble disciple understands ignorance, the origin of ignorance, the cessation of ignorance, and the way leading to the cessation of ignorance. In that way, he is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dharma. And what is ignorance? What is the origin of ignorance? What is the cessation of ignorance? What is the way leading to the cessation of ignorance? Not knowing about suffering, not knowing about the origin of suffering, not knowing about the cessation of suffering, not knowing about the way leading to the cessation of suffering. This is called ignorance. With the arising of the taints, there is the arising of ignorance. With the cessation of taints, there is the cessation of ignorance. The way leading to the cessation of ignorance is just this Noble Eightfold Path, that is, right view all the way to right concentration. When a noble disciple has thus understood ignorance, the origin of ignorance, the cessation of ignorance, and the way leading to the cessation of ignorance, he here and now makes an end of suffering. In that way too, a noble disciple is one of right views and has arrived at this true Dharma. Good.
Thanks, Sister Akim. This is the definition of ignorance. Not knowing about suffering, not knowing about the origin of suffering, not knowing about the cessation of suffering, not knowing the way leading to the cessation of suffering. And with the arising of the taints, there is the arising of ignorance. Sister Choi Kwan, would you like to continue?
Taints, saying, "Good friend," the monks delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's words. Then they asked him a further question. "But, friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight, who has confirmed confidence in the Dharma, and has arrived at this true Dharma?" There might be, friends. When, friends, a noble disciple understands the taints, the origin of the taints, the cessation of the taints, and the way leading to the cessation of the taints. In that way, he is one of right view, whose view is straight, who has confirmed confidence in the Dharma, and has arrived at this true Dharma. And what are the taints? What is the origin of the taints? What is the cessation of the taints? What is the way leading to the cessation of the taints? There are these three taints: the taint of sensual desire, the taint of existence, and the taint of ignorance. With the arising of ignorance, there is the arising of the taints. With the cessation of ignorance, there is the cessation of the taints. The way leading to the cessation of the taints is just this noble eightfold path. That is right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. When a noble disciple has thus understood the taints, the origin of the taints, the cessation of the taints, and the way leading to the cessation of the taints, he entirely abandons the underlying tendency to lust. He abolishes the underlying tendency to aversion. He extirpates the underlying tendency to the view and conceit, I am. And by abandoning ignorance and arousing true knowledge, he here and now makes an end of suffering. In that way too, a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight, who has perfect confidence in the Dharma, and has arrived at this true Dharma. That is what the Venerable Sariputta said. The monks were satisfied and delighted in the Venerable Sariputta's word. Majjhima Nikaya 9, Samadhi Sutta. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thanks, Sister Sai. Thanks, Sister Choi Kwan. The last one of the right view is the taints, the last section. Let's take a look at footnotes number 22. It should be noted that while ignorance is a condition for the taints, including the taint of ignorance, are in turn a condition for ignorance. The commentary, PS, says that this conditioning of ignorance by ignorance implies that the ignorance in any one existence is conditioned by the ignorance in the preceding existence. Since this is so, the conclusion follows that no first point can be discovered for ignorance, and thus that samsara is without a discernible beginning. So here, taints are defined as 3. Taints of sensual desire, taint of existence, and the taint of ignorance. And what causes the arising of taints is back again to ignorance. Okay, with that, we completed right view. So maybe we take a quick look at what we have read. So the last part, we covered taints. And then before taints, we read about ignorance, and then volitional formations, consciousness, name and form, 6 sense bases, contact, feeling, craving, clinging, existence. Can I highlight this? Birth, then aging and death. And before aging and death, we took a look at the 4 noble truths. Then before 4 noble truths, we read about nutriment. And then before nutriment, we covered the wholesome and the unwholesome. And that is basically the summary of right view. I told you we will finish right view by today. Okay, any questions or comments?
Can I say the taints are the loba, dosa, and moha?
They are probably not.
It's not. I don't know whether the taint means that sensual means greed, existence means hatred. I don't know. Ignorant delusion.
They are not exactly.
Not exactly right.
Not exactly a parallel.
Mm.
Maybe the taint of sensual desire is greed. That one can be linked.
Yeah.
And then ignorance can be linked to delusion, but existence not exactly to hatred.
Mm.
So it's not exactly a parallel mystery.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a good question.
Are taints imprints?
What do you mean by imprints?
I'm trying to understand how exactly you get taints as opposed to, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to understand a more layman definition of taints. What exactly do taints mean in a layman context?
In the text itself, it does not elaborate, but in Majjhima Nikaya 1 or 2, it explains everything about taint. If we'd like, we can take a look at that. That one is pretty long. Does anyone have a simple explanation of taints?
I take it as defilements. Our
Do you have
defilement.
a Chinese, is there a Chinese word
The
equivalent?
Chinese is lo, 猪肉. So there's the sensual desire is 欲漏. So when Sister Choi Kwan said great hatred delusion, I think it's talking about this 欲漏. And the 有漏 is the existence. And the last one, the ignorance, is the 无明漏. So when we learn about lo in Chinese, Mahayana, it says as 烦恼 usually. Yeah. 烦恼. So 烦恼 is defilements in English. So yeah, we have all these taints that give rise to ignorance, and also ignorance giving rise to further action so that we create more taints, that kind of thing. So it's like a circle. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
I
whether
think it's very close to that. Central desire means greed, that you're greedy for certain, and the desire to do something, and that is like loba. And existence is, it could be hatred, because when you try to be able to exist, sometimes the competition is there. Then you can have
existence,
hatred,
we have
anger, or
previously read
whatever.
about existence also.
Yeah.
That means the
So
wanting.
so that's my understanding. I think that quite close to it, but not exactly it. Yeah.
Existence, previously we read about existence in the dependent origination, one of the factors,
Yeah.
right? So it's about craving for existence, the three spheres, mainly the 欲界、色界、无色界, the sensual sphere, the form sphere, and the formless sphere. That means you just want to have existence. We are worried of after dying, nothing. Annihilation, that means after you die. Some of the views is
What about
after you die,
unwholesome?
everything is gone.
What about
And,
unwholesome?
yeah, wholesome and unwholesome is another one. But this craving for existence is like the two parts. That means we want to have something, so to go on and on. We are afraid of having nothing. We are afraid of there's no more existence. So that's why we cling on to having this existence, and also linked to the having a self. So yeah, so Buddha says to 离两边行中道, to have the middle path, so that we don't have this eternal view and also this annihilation view. Yeah, just understand that conditions arise and just keep feeding ourselves with more and more actions that creates, karma. So whenever there's an action, there will be a result. So yeah, that keep us going in this samsara. But I like this right view, the way that they teach us to link the fundamentals of Buddha's teaching. Like when we read the Four Noble Truths, it also went through each factor of the dependent origination. And inside each dependent origination factor, also we go and look into each factor, what is the four truths, Yeah, so I like the way they put it. And also inside the four truths, there is the Noble Eightfold Path. So Noble Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truths, dependent origination. These are the core dharma that actually we have to understand and practice. Of course, together with the anicca, dukkha, and anatta, impermanence, suffering, and not self. Yeah. So this is a summary. Actually, this right view is the most important of the Noble Eightfold Path. Without right view, everything that follows, the intention, the speech, the action, the livelihood, all will be wrong. So we have to have this right view to begin with, so that our body, speech, and mind can be right. Our intention is right. Our practice of concentration and mindfulness, all this will be right, so that we can cultivate the path in the right way. So previously, there's this variable said, because there are questions from the audience that say, sometimes we are so afraid of karma. But he say, so long as we keep doing wholesome, like what Quack say, wholesome, wholesome, wholesome. So like a tree that is leaning towards, the wholesome part, suddenly the trees get chopped off. Where will the tree fall? Towards the wholesome. So not to be afraid, if we just keep cultivating, keep planting wholesome seeds that a lot of venerables have been teaching us and telling us to do. So we already know the path. So what we need to do now is put in the right effort and yeah, go forward. One day we will reach the nirvana. 此岸到彼岸, yeah, with this noble eightfold path. That's what I want to share today. Thank you.
Thanks, Sister Saikyang, for the sharing, and the rest for the good questions. Anything else to add from the rest? Okay, if not, for Sister Saikyang to do the dedication.
回向，愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。
Thanks, Sister Saikyang. Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a taintless Monday ahead. Thanks, everyone, and see you guys next time. Bye-bye.